I want to give a shout out to Whatever It Takes Transmission. My next project, I'm going to install a parking brake pawl on this transmission. It's a 4L85E. And they didn't put them in these motorhomes because I guess there's a possibility of it being torque locked. The parking pawl won't come off the gear because of the weight of the motorhome. So they just didn't put one in it, and they've got that drum brake on the end of the tail housing with the parking brake shoes in it, and then it's got that actuator that unapplies the brake. It applies the pressure on that cable anytime you're driving down the road. So you've got to have that pump and 1,500 pounds of pressure pushing on that cable anytime you're going down the road. And if you don't, the fail mode is it locks the transmission up, or it locks the drivetrain up. And the trip before last, we almost had that happen because we had a leak in the system, and it was leaking fluid, and I could hear a noise coming from sound like the base of the strain column, because that's where the hydraulic pump is for the actuator, and it was getting low on fluid, and the parking brake light kept flashing on. I never did really feel it starting to lock up on me, but I wasn't too far from it. So we had to stop a few times and add fluid to it until we made it home. And but there's a lot of other scenarios where it can fail. There's a switch, a green switch called the rotten green switch. I guess it's bad about failing, and it'll leave you stranded on the road. And the only way you can disable it is to either cut the cable going to the parking brake, or I guess there's a pin you can pull, but I wouldn't want to do that on the side of the highway. But anyway, so I don't see any difference between this motorhome and my pickup pulling a 10,000 pound, 11,000 pound fifth wheel. It's got a parking pawl in it, and if it's on a slope, it's got all the weight on it, just like this motorhome does. So I'm gonna give it a try. I just would like the satisfaction and the confidence of when I put it in park, the thing not roll. And you know, once I get out and I'm going to be stopped for a second, I'll put wheel chocks on it anyway. I do that anyway, but I just don't trust this system. And if I can get that parking pawl in there and working, then maybe I can work on figuring out a way to use this hydraulic system that's on this thing, but maybe have a way to disable it real quickly if it ever fails. So anyway, this Whatever It Takes transmission parts, they had a whole kit that had everything I need in it. Here's the actuator rod. Then here's the little bridge plate that rod goes into. Then here's the parking pawl itself. And that's a heavy pawl. I just don't see me breaking that thing. And I don't think I need the shaft or the rooster tail. They call that a rooster tail, because I think mine's already got that in there. And then here's the pin for the parking pawl. Then there's the return spring. And I've got a little cut plug So after I put the shaft in there, and you drive that plug in there to keep it from leaking oil. But I've never done it before. I think I can do it all from underneath without taking too much stuff off. I know I have to take the pan off and the filter, transmission filter, but I probably need to change the filter anyway, and I've already changed the fluid, but I'll change it again. And then basically this transmission will be just like the one in my pickup, and most other automobiles have this parking pawl. I just think I'll be a lot more satisfied with it. And if for some reason it does go into torque lock, I think that's what they call torque lock, is when you've got so much weight on this parking pawl that you can't get the shifter to move. If I ever run into that, then I can always disable it, take it back out. But I'm going to give it a try. So come along with me while I attempt to do this, and I don't know if there's any demand for it or not, but others may want to try it and do it too. I think that right there is the plug where that pivot shaft goes in for the parking pawl. So I don't think I have to take anything off other than the transmission pan. The fluid sure is pretty clean. I changed it just shortly after I bought this motorhome, but I've never changed the filter, so this will give me an opportunity to change the filter. Okay, let me zap the rest of these out here real quick. Okay. That's good to know that I think it's doable. I wasn't sure if it would have that gear, the clogged gear in there for the parking pawl or not. I figured it would. I figured they just left the linkage out. And the parking pawl itself. That's good. I think it'll be a good project. Let me pull this filter out of the way. It'll give me a little bit more room. I'm anxious to get this pin that holds the parking pawl through there, because I've got to take that plug out at the back of the transmission, and all I can figure is to drive it in and let it fall through between those two holes. I think once I get that done, I'll be pretty much home free as far as not knowing exactly what I'm doing. So let me try to get that plug out of there. I'm excited to get that done. No wonder I was anxious about this, because it is turning out to be difficult. I think it's moving. Yeah, it moved. Let me see where it's at. There it is. Now, I should be able to put the new shaft in along with the parking pawl. Here's the shaft. The end with the keeper groove goes in first, because that keeps it from coming back out. Because there's a little ledge right there. It keeps it from going in too far. Let's see. That hole must be messed up just a little bit because this thing won't slide in. I was hoping it would slide in pretty easy. But nothing's ever easy. I guess I'll tap on it, but I sure hate to get it stuck in there. Let this parking pawl go like that. See, it slides through there easy. Let me put a little bit of lubricant on it and see if it makes it go easier. I can't really see what I'm doing. Hey, that did help. Okay, let me push that back just a little bit. Okay, now if I get that parking pawl stuck in there, and then slide the shaft in. Okay, it's holding the, there it goes. Okay, I'm going to have to use something to push it in there further. Because I think it'll go until it stops. It won't go too far. I'm going to have to tap on it. All the YouTube videos I watched on the 4080 or 85Es, none of them showed this part because I don't think anybody ever has to mess with the parking pawls on these things. Even when they rebuild them, they just leave them in there. It's not something you'd probably ever have to service. But I could see quick videos of that location kind of helped me see what I needed to see to learn how to do this. Keep losing where this plug is. By the time I get both hands in there, I can't see anything anymore. Okay, let me shut the camera off and get this in there. Okay, here's the clip that goes in it. Keep it from coming back out. Got it on a pair of needle nose pliers. Let me try to get it up in there. I have to get a different pair of pliers. Wait, I think I just got it. Yeah. So that pin can't come out, it can't go any further in. So I'm good there now. I just got to get the new plug put back into the hole. Here's the new plug. There's the old one. It's a little bit deeper than the old one, but I think I've got plenty of room to get it in there. Put a little bit of RTV on it. Might even help it slide in there a little bit easier. Okay. Okay, I think I've got it started. See if I can tap it in there. I think it's probably okay. It's just about flush, and that plug was deeper than the other one. I just put me a little dab of silicone on the outside just to be sure. I shouldn't have any pressure on it because it's not a pressure circuit, it's just a hole for that shaft to go through. Okay. That should be that. I'm glad to have that done. I was kind of worried about it. There might not be any way around it. I might have to take that rooster tail or whatever they call that off there to get this shaft started. I'm sure hoping I wouldn't have to. Okay, let me figure this out. Okay, I've run into quite a problem. I can't get the linkage to go in the shift link in the rooster tail. See that thing? It has to go in that slot. On the top part of that shaft, above the shaft. It's got to go in there, and then once it goes in there it turns, and then it can't come out. But I can't get it to go in there with the thing still on the transmission. I can't even get it to go in there off the transmission. That shaft's in the way. Now if you take this off, do like that, then it's fine. But I can't get it to that angle with that shaft in there. It's on the wrong side of the shaft. And the only way to get this shaft out is to take the valve body out, because it's got this pin that goes in that groove to hold that shaft, and this pin is trapped by the valve body. And I don't want to take the valve body off because I'm not that good of a transmission man, and all those little check balls, there's like 5 of them up in there, and if you've got the transmission upside down on the bench, they all stay in the right grooves. But with it like inside this motorhome, they're all going to fall off, go everywhere. So I think I'm going to modify this shaft, grind that off so it'll slide in here at any angle. And then either put a cotter pin or some kind of clip in there. Maybe a small flat washer and then a cotter pin. So I've decided I'm not going to take that valve body off. So let me try to find some kind of cotter pin. No turning back now. Okay, I've got it modified. There's really no side load on this thing, it's just back and forth. I think I'll be fine. So let me get this put in. I think that's the way that plate goes on there. I just can't get that other bolt in right now. Let's see with that under that spring is held tight. It can't fall off again. And then that plate keeps the rod from falling down too. Let me go ahead and try to get the rod put on. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, this needs to be done when the shift linkage is out, valve body's out, because this rod's hard to get in there. Okay, I think I got it all lined up. So we'll put it together and test it. First I got to put the cotter pin in the other end that I modified. Okay. Right now, the parking pawl can't go all the way up in the gear because it's kind of in between gears. And see, what happens is I put it in park, but it just compresses that spring. Now, as soon as the vehicle moves, it should go into park. And then that's out of park. This looks pretty easy, but I don't know if it will be or not. Nothing's been easy so far. There's the washer. Here's the cotter pin. I'd really like to get it from the top. That way it couldn't fall out, even if it got loose. Let's see. Okay, it's all in there. Seems to be working. Okay, got it all buttoned back up. Put my shifter linkage back on. So now all I gotta do is fill it with fluid. Okay, I've disabled the automatic parking brake two different ways. I've taken the pin out of the connector down there at the brake drum, and then I've disconnected the hydraulic pump. It says auto park and brakes on, but it's not. That light will probably stay on all the time. There's neutral. Okay, there's neutral, and we're rolling. Every time I release the brake, we start rolling. Put it in park. You can hear it when it goes into park. It comes out just fine. Okay, we're rolling in neutral. I hit the brake, let off the brake, we start rolling again. Put it in park. You can hear it engage, and we stop. That seems to be working good. I'll figure out a way to make the auto park and brake light go off. But other than that, it's like it's working real good. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know this was a long video, but it was pretty drawn out too. Thanks. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.